evening, Matthew.
Hi, Treb.
How are you doing this evening?
A bit tired. Always am at the moment.
Yeah,
How are you?
I'm doing very well in this day. Thank you. And Rochelle, how are you doing this day? Yes. I know that you wish to speak to me again, so whenever you are ready to begin, you may.
Okay. Alright, Treb. My new thing at the moment is that I'm always looking for a reassurance that I exist. So I want stimulation like alcohol, tobacco, over talking sometimes just so I know I'm alive because I can hear the sound of my voice. So I just would like some assistance on not needing that as much anymore because most of my life is dependent on stimulation to reassure myself that I'm alive.
Yes. So you are wishing to find other ways to experience this aliveness?
Just to maybe own so completely where I don't have to keep on checking all the time and going, do I exist? Am I alive? Because I need other people's company for that. Being on my own is good because I wouldn't know if I'm alive. So I need someone else to say, hello, there you are. Go, oh, thank God I'm alive. So I need people all the time.
Yes, and um, the idea of not having another person to co-create this, but still being aware, is something that perhaps excites you.
Yeah.
Yes, there are many techniques. One of them is specifically used by another race, one that is of a feline human type. And these entities are in what you would say the lower third density. These entities have just found the idea of intaking water, various amounts of water, being able to sit and rest into one place. And as the water stimulates the body, they begin to take a mind to a very quiet place. Because of the idea of sound sensations, because
Yeah.
of the idea of outside stimulus, this quietness plus the physical feeling of the cold water in the body through the urinary tracts, the sensation of having to urinate, all of this is a reminder that they are quite alive in consciousness and that they are quite alive in the physical realm as well. And this is a very great stimulation to them. But to be more practical for a human aspect, there is many more techniques that can be used through the idea of complete awareness. This brings you a very great possibility to see that you are alive, to understand that consciousness manifested into a physical reality is a process of thought. So any thoughts that you are thinking while you are sitting is an indication that you are physically there. As you are in a non-physical state, there is no moment-to-moment thought, only an expression of wanting to be moving through specific areas of consciousness and wanting to do certain things. So the idea of complex thought processing, thinking from moment to moment, this is a very great indicator that you are alive.
But that again, Treb, what's the word? Overthinking. That can also be a hunger distance because I do that a lot. My brain never stops working. It's always doing stuff. What about here's another one. What about when a person moves beyond the idea of numbers? So numbers aren't as important because for me being the second born in the family, I always feel lesser than the firstborn just because of numbers, not because of me worth as a human being, but just simply because I'm the second born.
Yes. So you are speaking of the ideas of completely disintegrating the amount of numbers and what it means to you.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, another point in case would be if someone has more money than then I feel lesser than them because they have more money. Like, does it matter though?
Yes, this is a very great point.
Yeah.
With the idea of leaving specific numerology behind you, the idea is to start seeing things in symbolistic ways, or what you would say to be geometric ways. So assigning specific ideas to be a specific pattern, to assign different emotions as a specific pattern, then you will not see that you are the second form. You will see that you are the most circular or the most hexagonal. If you are able to sit and work through the process of assignment of all of these symbolistic ideas, moving through every portion of things that you experience from day to day, in assigning them in the ideas of geometric patterns or combinations of geometric patterns, as long as you do not begin to count the edges on these patterns in numbers, then you will be very safe in this way.
What else? I'm finding it hard to read at the moment because, say, I'm reading a sentence which says whatever. Today's a bright day. I can't seem to read. I'm reading whatever words I want instead of what words are on the book page or on the screen, and it's more of a case of me like I don't know, I don't know what I'm saying. Instead of repeating things, sort of coming up with it myself and doing it myself.
Yes, in the way that you are experiencing this, you are selecting patterns within these sentence areas, and are you attaining the same knowledge from doing this than you would if you are reading the entire idea?
Well, say for what written on the page, Treb, and what I hear in my head, it's not the same thing. It's like a completely different sentence. Like whatever I'm thinking is what I'm reading. I can't seem to, like, there's something on the screen and I can see it says letters, but it doesn't. The information doesn't go in, and it makes it very hard for me now to read anything. I think that's because I'm moving beyond the idea that the external is more than the internal. I think it's gone the other way now, and I just can't. I'm more relaxed like this. I think I've moved beyond the idea of a definition or a title, a name for something. I've moved beyond the idea of a name.
Yes, this is a very interesting concept, as many entities who have what you would say to be mental disabilities in the way of autism or even the Asperger syndrome tend to experience life in this way more naturally. But as you have subjected your consciousness to a desired training, perhaps as you would see this, you have been able to achieve this without going through the process of having the specific outcome at the beginning of your birth. This is a very interesting idea, and not many humans are able to project consciousness in such a way.
Not able to project? Oh no, it may go to me head a bit, but as I say, it's like that I'm projecting me onto the words and then getting me back instead of me just reading what's there. And as I say, it's brilliant for like places. It's like someone says like I'm disabled. If I just say, all right, then that's what you are. But now a name doesn't really mean anything to me. So it's nice. It's nice not to be so controlled by a name of something. But again, I'd like to go beyond numbers like that. So numbers don't mean anything to me as well. Is that possible?
Yes, it is again retraining consciousness, perhaps to stimulate yourself in a symbolistic replacement, as we have spoke of in the previous, but also from the time that you are experiencing these numbers, whenever you come across them in an experienced way, then you must lose all definition of what these numbers truly are. Begin to assign your own projections upon them in a way that does not mean I will project 3 as this, but saying I will not project 3 at all, only what my experience feels at this moment.
But because when you don't have numbers, you could sort of, I don't know, you're not bothered about time as much. It's like something became first, something was first and something was second. You don't really live in time when you don't live in numbers. So then it's like, I say like I'm 31 now, and at 31 I expect to like have a family and things like that and a job. That's just because of the number 30. I expect to be being a 30-year-old because I'm 30.
Yes, this is very common amongst humans. The most difficult area of this to be able to undo within your own consciousness would be that of the financial issues. As when you are going into a place, if they are expressing that this is 99 cents and you are giving them $5, you will expect to have $4.01 back instead of removing the idea of any change, or they do not, or you do not owe them anymore. So this will be the most difficult area, and within this, there is many ways to circumvent this as well. To place all money on a debit card idea, so that you are not experiencing any count of money or change that is given back.
I see. So that's a way of doing it. So I'll get there one day. Hang on a sec. Val? I'll have me dinner in a bit. Okay. Where are we up to? So, I don't know what else. Any questions, Treb?
Yes, in this newfound idea of losing specific amounts of information in the reading way,
Yeah.
whenever you are experiencing a book, what is being projected back? I understand that many times perhaps it will be what you are experiencing or feeling at this time,
Yeah.
but is there a default setting that
Yeah, there
allows
is.
specific things?
This, like, as I'm looking at something on the screen now, what I can hear in my head as I'm reading that is the end. I can see the beginning of the end. The beginning now is governmented by the principles that all orders now recognised by its own something, and then the word doesn't come. But that doesn't say it on the screen. What it says on the screen is, you can help end this epidemic. It's like an advertisement for something. I can read, so I can just say, like, I can now see the beginning of the end, which is governed by the principles that all order is recognised by a structure which has hitherto established itself into a set pattern, which has now aligned itself towards something else, and then I lose the word again. So it's basically whatever's that's what I can, that's what's coming at me when I look at the words instead of what the words are apparently saying.
Yes, this is a very great integration of consciousness, projection exchange. You are allowing yourself to now read between the lines. This is a very great concept.
Oh, yeah, that's a nice way of saying it. Read between the lines. I used to be scared of this, Trevor. I used to think I can't function, but I'm more comfortable like this because I'm not governed by anything anymore. I can just, I'm not governed by names and things like that, or especially when it comes to fashion. Like, we have like Nike and Reebok, and it doesn't really matter. It's only a garment of clothes, but the name will make it a more expensive garment for whatever reason. So you move beyond names. You don't have to buy expensive clothes then just because they've got a name on them.
Yes,
Yeah,
and this is a very great thing.
It does go back where I can read again. Like, I can read that. You can help this endemic. What does it say? Skype contact conversation. I can go back into that. But then I'll notice, like, sometimes I just can't read that at all. So what would you say that is then, Trevor? It's more of an integration of myself into the world instead of me just becoming a passive observer.
Yes, and this is also a way for you to be able to project your own consciousness onto specific attributes of information that is being processed within you. So it allows you to experience the world in the second way. As we have spoke of in the previous, you wish to exist in two things at one time, and now you are starting to integrate yourself. You are seeing one line in one way and one line in the other way. This is two realities experienced at one time.
What about when it comes to colours? Like, if I look at something and it's blue, but then I see it as red.
Yes, this is something that is somewhat natural in the color idea, exchanging one vibrational frequency for the other. As when the host was young, he is seeing the color of green as blue and the blue as green. These were the only two colors because this, in his own consciousness, was the only thing that he was willing to compromise with the collective consciousness definition and vibration of these two specifically.
Okay, but if there's no real limit on that, then one can just start seeing their own consciousness instead of seeing the structure around them.
Yes, especially in the idea that now, as the perhaps you will not like to see this in this way because this is a definitional style, but now that you are in this third to fourth density exchange, you are actually receiving more consciousness from the oversoul to you to be able to utilize in a way that grows your entire existence. And this is a complete definition and example of this in a full idea.
But as you said before about Rob, like, it's willing not to disagree so much with the collective agreements, because would that make it impractical to exist with others if you're reading something differently to what they're reading or seeing a different colour to what they're seeing? But for me now, I think it's more important for me to just see what I want to see instead of seeing what's agreed upon.
Yes, this helps break away most definitely from the collective.
Well, how would that happen in the exchange of two others then? If one is seeing something different to what they're seeing, it will no longer be able to coexist with them.
This is not necessarily true. As you are doing this all of the time with all entities that you co-create with as you exist now. You are both experiencing something in the similar range, and or you are connecting and co-creating with another entity whose focus of consciousness is not completely within what you are co-creating anyway. So they are not truly experiencing both of you standing on the street speaking. They are experiencing a ride upon a roller coaster in the Disney World. So their projection of consciousness is in another reality, when this portion of consciousness is only there to co-create an experience with you.
I'm good. No, I'm okay for now, Val. Just, I just someone offered me some food. I'll just have me dinner in a minute. Yeah, so I think that's it, because I'm more non-physical at the moment, Treb. I've moved into that sort of non-physical aspect of me, and that's why structure and words no longer have the same degree of reality to them. So, how far will this go now? I'm feeling more non-physical. What will be the rest of this, as it were, over the next few months and years?
The experience that you are able to have at the end of a 9-year period would be the very most utmost of the fourth density style, which would include full ability to manifest very much more instantaneously, as you are able to see your manifestations take place within a several hour to 1 day to 1 week period now. Then you will be able to experience them within either days or hours or even minutes. You will be able to express your own consciousness as you choose to through various means of physical realities that are not quite similar to this. It will appear to be as similar as physicality, but you will have less limitations within this. You would experience more of a full fourth density style of existence.
Very much like a dream. A dream looks the same as a reality, but it's got less limitations. So it's basically like I'm going to start living in a permanent dream.
Yes, the dream state is truly more as the fourth density than in the meditative state, unless you are able to leave your consciousness of your physical body. But yes, this is very similar of the dream state, being the buffer area between the two.
Okay, yeah. I think we'll leave it then for now, Treb, and we'll actually no, we'll talk for another half hour actually, and then I'll pay Rob the full hour. But that's all it seems to be the case of now, Treb. It's just moving into that light mind and just noticing the changes. It's just a bit difficult that I can't read anymore, because I can't. Someone's wrote a story and I can't read it. I can only read whatever I'm saying. I think I'm staying like this now because I think I've read enough of the world. Time for me to write my own stories.
Yes.
That's the way to play, yeah. So what have you been doing of late? Doing recently?
There is exploration of several planets that are within a system that is only about 112 light years from you. On 2 of these planets, there is a very vast amount of second density beings, but on 1 planet there is only 4 types of second density beings. So being able to experience all of this, communicate with them, to experience the probability of growth of the third density life in a more natural setting on one of these 2 with the vast varieties is a very great, exciting experience. And for the last 3 days of your Earth days, this has been approximately where I've been and what I've been doing as I am doing this now.
Well, here's the one for you. Do second density animals, do they have dreams like we do?
There is a specific dream state. This is not truly the dream that you are having, but it is very similar in the idea where their consciousness is being between where they are in the second density and where you used to be 3 years ago within the third density. This dream state is always a buffer area between the densities. So they are experiencing the second to third exchange within the dream state. So they are less limited in ways of complex thoughts, processing, specific emotional. Yes!
Yeah, so they could probably like think of things very complicated, but then when they wake up they just want to go and eat their food and do the things, but when they go to sleep they probably reading the works of Shakespeare or something like that.
Yes, this is a very great example.
That's good, that. Oh, nice one. You've made me feel more appreciative of them. No, I can see that, because I noticed when dogs dream, they make loads of weird noises. They must be doing something in their dream world.
Yes.
So what else? Yeah, so as I said before about this reassurance of existence, I do spend a lot of time on that, trying to just tell myself that and that's me. I was saying to Rob before, people who do very extreme sports, and they say, I never feel as most alive than when I'm doing this. And also when people are being quite negative, and I never feel as most alive than when I'm, like, in war or something like that. And I think the root cause is you're just trying to tap yourself to say, yeah, I'm alive, I'm real. And I just need to, I'm alive. I don't know why I have to remind myself with food which stimulates, or alcohol or tobacco, anything which stimulates and tells me. For instance, I'd like to eat food which is healthy, but I tend to just eat food which tastes good because I want the stimulation of taste instead of I want the good, energetic, healthy food. So that's why I won't eat healthy food at the moment, because it's not exciting enough and it's not tasting enough. But hopefully soon I can move on to that and just eat good food. Vegetables are boring, but sweets and things like that, they're brilliant, only they're not that good for the body.
If you are able to move your belief systems away from the idea that those things, the alcohol and tobacco and sugar of good foods, are not harmful for your body, if you are able to see them as equality to good foods or not smoking, then it will be less harmful. But to do this, you must still, even more so than now, break away from this collective. Within the stimulation idea of all stimulations, perhaps to see the idea that what your consciousness is doing now, experiencing two things at once, breaking out of the mode of regularity, projecting yourself into physical attributes of the consciousness and the matrix of the system of physicality that you are within. Perhaps seeing your ability to do this will make you realize that every time you are reading something and new words appear, that this is quite much more of a feat than any stimulation physically that you are able to have. This shows more of your true self and more of your power and ability.
Yeah, that's good, actually. Yeah, I don't mind doing that now. As I say, Treb, it's just the fear of not losing the collective, going beyond it. I was talking to a dronist, and he says you never lose anything. You just go beyond it. Like if you were living in a house and you only lived in one room, when you go out of that room and you live in more of the house, you don't lose the room you've just come out of. So I just feel I'm going to lose people by not being able to agree with them and not being able to view things the way they view it. I couldn't work in a play. Say we had a play and we had a script to read, and they said, there's your character. We read what's on the page and then say it to the camera. Well, I can't do that. I just kind of say whatever I say. So we can't be in our play then. So then that makes me feel lonely.
Yes, but if you see the one human that everyone tends to believe is a crazy man walking down the street screaming obscenities, defecating on himself and screaming outward, this man is not in the same reality that you are within, but you are still able to experience him. So if you see this, and let this be a comfort to you, and know that just because one does not play by the script does not mean that you will lose or not be able to fully experience other entities. It just means that when you are connecting to portions of their consciousness that they are not fully integrated to, that they are only not focusing their complete attention and focusing their consciousness into at this moment.
But generally when people are like that, so-called maniacs and things like that, they get locked up and hurt by other people. So there is a desire for a fear desire to say, oh no, I'm going to start looking normal and appearing normal. Because if you don't, then you can get hurt. But you can't really, because if you move into a different reality, then the other people aren't there either. So you're just in a completely different reality, and then people aren't there to... That's what I mean, Trevor. Like, I always worry, like, other human beings hurting me. But if I'm in a different reality, that excludes them from it. They're no longer in it until I go to the other world where they're in. So I don't have to worry about how are these people perceiving me? Because, well, they're no longer here now. Unless you go back there, it's like, it's okay. Does that make sense?
Yes, this is very well understood from the sight of human and the understanding of human consciousness overall. Yes, this is very well understood.
Yeah, actually, one for you though. Let's say we learn from each other. What's your interest in humans? How do you find this stimulating?
The idea that a human is able to kill another human and then be able to be completely disconnected in this, and then they are able to go home and to kiss their child and love them as they are going to sleep. This is a very wide array of consciousness and thought in energetic proportions, and all humans are capable of this.
Yeah, and that's a surprise to you.
It is not a surprise, as it is well understood that all ways of consciousness, all ways that anything can manifest from non-physical to physical will manifest, but it is the idea of the lowest probability and being able to experience this lowest probability as a human entity is truly one of the lowest probable manifestations of this physical universe.
What does that mean? Lowest probable? I don't understand yet.
What is meant by this is when the complete and entire galaxy, collective consciousness, was sprouted from non-physical into a physical sense, that all consciousness has a very, perhaps you would see it as a variety or a portion at this energy to this energy. And within the entire, complete and entire galaxy, that human beings in the way that they are should have been less than 1 trillionth of a percentage of being able to manifest themselves physically into a reality of our galaxy. That this is one of the very least probable entities, but as you see and as you are experiencing now, this is very true. It is very here and it is alive and it is manifested itself. So the probability of the human coming from non-physical to physical has not only manifested, but has also continuously reached out to touch many of the races. And this is a very great gift and very exciting to be a part of the experience of this, and also to be able to see firsthand the experience of a human being entity while they are going through this lowest probability stage of manifesting.
I've got it, Treb. Say, for instance, you had a lot of stones, maybe millions of stones, and you threw them up in the air, and they landed, and they just randomly created a picture of a tree and a house. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? It's like, how did this all come together? It's so improbable that all these pebbles would land in that fashion. But there it is. There it is in front of us. It could have just landed in any order, but it landed, and it looks like something. It looks like a face or a house. My God, how did that happen? That's like 1 in a million odds that would happen. So we're like that in a sense.
Yes, this is a very great and almost perfect analogy.
Yeah, thanks, Treb. Thanks for your idea as well. It makes me feel quite proud of us then. So yeah, we're like an anomaly. I can't even say the word. An anomaly.
Yes.
Yeah.
An anomaly is quite right.
Nice one. Does anyone not like us in the galaxy? Does anyone sort of think we're knobheads? Or sorry, we're stupid or anything like that?
Yes, there are many races that see you to be violent and ignorant, and very disconnected. But coming from an entity who is able to judge another entity in this way seems to make them just as disconnected as they perceive you to be. So it is very great. Many of the type 1 entities appreciate your existence. Many type 2 entities either love the ability to disconnect so highly or are very close and personally attached to your race due to the idea that you are genetic children of theirs or that they are genetic children of yours. And either way, there is either a very closeness, a very wonderful awe, or a very deep hatred.
That's a shame, but I can imagine that because we've got multi sides to us. You can see us from any angle. We've got every colour. So you can always see that we're very colourful. As I say, when you said about the analogy of being able to go to war and then come back to your family, we've just got so many colours to us. And I think this is a great degree of ability to be able to utilise all the aspects and still not lean onto one or the other, and to just see them all as equally valid. But another point, Treb, say for instance you have wars, which are an external reaction to versus mentality, one thing against another. What does that must begin in the self, where the self splits itself in two, and one part of the self hates another part of the self, and then you uproot that and you make it into the external world. So if you love yourself unconditionally, it's impossible then to create the idea of war.
Yes, to be able to create the external war, as the collective consciousness does this quite well on its own, due to the vibrational differences in all entities. But when it is within your own personal self, there must be a separation for you to co-create this war. So to physically be there and to fight, or to be a portion of something within your own self that manifests outwardly so that you are affected by this war. Yes, this is very true.
That's what I mean, because I have anger and hatred in me, which is it's part of me. Again, that makes me feel like I'm alive when I'm full of anger. You must be alive because you're full of anger. And when I'm full of love and appreciation, I feel alive again. But it's just allowing them two things to exist instead of having one fighting the other. Saying I have to be nice all the time. I have to get rid of all this anger. It's just like you said with the tobacco, just seeing it as neutral, or it's everything else. I think that's the lesson of it, to be honest, Treb. It's this: you're so bombarded with everything that you have to appreciate it all, because you can't get away from it. You can't be horrible. You can't be nice. You just gotta see it all and get used to it. That makes sense.
Yes, to see it all with a sort of neutrality, or at least a sort of non-judgment. This is a very great way to experience without the emotional misalignment or disconnection that so many seem to go through by labeling all of these things as negative or positive. Yes.
That labeling mentality is so automatic sometimes. When one looks at a tree, they don't really look at it as everything. They just call it a tree and then move on to something else and go, that's a tree. No, this is a cup, and that's that. And I know what it is because I've given it a word. But when you give something a word, you limit it. You limit what it can be and its full potential. The idea of definitions, this is again something I'm moving beyond. You get to see it more. You get to see it. Oh, that's it, Treb. For instance, if you look at an object from one perspective and you say that's what it is, but if you don't give it a definition, you can actually see it from its all perspectives, from the left, the right, the front, and the back. You can see it all. But if you have if you look at a person and go, this person is a negative person, well, that's all you can see then, that side of them. But if you don't give them a definition, you just look at them. And then you can, I don't know, but that's it. I don't want definitions anymore. I hate names. I hate giving things names. So that's a plant. Now it's everything, isn't it? It's all connected. Yeah, it's a plant. Move on. That's a cup. That's a tree. But do you work with names a lot? When you define something as a name, do you firmly believe that your definition is absolutely true?
No, there is no true definition to any word. And this is why I tend to separate myself from words unless I am using it to describe. There are certain races that have what you would say to be galactic names that everyone in the galaxy has agreed to call them. This is due to their own separation from reality or due to their own idealism of what defines them. But even within our race, there is no true name. Even with me, compared to the entity next to me, there is no distinguishing names. There is only the feeling of connection between us, but also the understanding of the fractalization of the oversoul manifesting itself outwardly into separation. I am still seeing my race as my own race, even though I understand it is a part of the whole, even though I see its connection to all that is. So there is always a separational view due to the manifestation from the inside outwardly of the fractalized oversoul that we all must experience in physical reality.
Well, I will study the idea of fractals. I'm familiar with them, but I have not yet become intimate with them, as it were. It's just an idea I'm aware of. I'll start to get more focus on that. Another point I could bring to you is, do you feel a sense of loyalty for your race?
There is no idea of perhaps what you would say to be loyalty. The idea of loving all of them, understanding my place within my race, understanding that my race is more like the individual me because of our harmonious vibration. This is a very great sense of happiness and joy for me. But there is no sense of allegiance in the overall race. There is no idea of having to stand up for my own race, as it stands within its own definition of what humans would call the Yit planet or the Yit people, as we all connect to each other with the understanding of the separatism as well.
Well, you have a wife, but why did you, if you see all people as equal and you appreciate them all, why do you have a wife instead of 1,000 wives?
There is no idea of not sharing intimate love with all. I use the word wife to humans so that they understand the connection that we make, physical manifestations of children from both of the genes. This is what you would see as a twin flame idea, one whose vibrations are almost exactly perfect, but I am able to love a spoon or a wall in the same manner that I love my wife. That is all equally loved and equally appreciated.
Well, if I went to church and tried to marry a spoon, they may not agree on that, but that's just my little joke there.
Yes!
So, yeah, let's see if that works. I'll get a couch and take it to the church and say I'm going to marry this couch today. Okay, then I'll do that.
Yes!
Okay,
this is a very exciting aspect of the humor that you have.
yeah. I think our humour generally comes from these opposites which are bombarding us, because our humour is based upon mixing opposites together, Treb. That's all the thing is. It's like when we have a word like shag pile carpet, which is a form of like material, it's got the word shag in it, and then shag's like a sexual word as well, and we make jokes about like a shag in a minute. It's like, oh, you're going to a brothel. I was like, haha, you got it confused because you thought you meant this and then you meant this. So having two opposites which are very extreme makes a great humour. Just like having two waves on the ocean. The bigger the waves, the bigger the crash, and then the bigger the energy. So the more extremes you get, the better. You just got to balance them, because obviously the extremes on one side is horrible. Quite nice, that, actually. Any other questions, Treb?
Yes, within the humor aspect of humanity, this is one thing that I am consistently trying to find a place within my own comfort or understanding of this. You have expressed very greatly the ideas of humor from the opposites or the play on word idea, but within humor, is there a specific humor within all Earth people that tends to fit a common mold that all entities will believe is humorous or funny?
I can't speak for everybody, but for me, the idea of self-deprecation is quite humorous, in the idea of not being so tied to the self. When you can observe yourself externally and look at your own faults and laugh at them, then that's something we all can empathise with that then. Sometimes, Treb, there's comedians which make jokes about different races, and then a certain amount of people will laugh at that and laugh at someone else. But it's not the greatest humour. The greatest humour is when you can laugh at yourself, because then everybody can get involved and we can all say, oh yeah, I do that as well, I think that as well, and then it's a great bonding exercise. But the other humour is sometimes, oh, this person's ugly, let's laugh at them, or this person's disabled, let's laugh at them. You can get a certain, I don't know what it is, but it's not the greatest level of humour. It's when you can when you can make the madness and you're not bothered about it. That's really that. When the chaos is like, I don't care about it, it's all a laugh anyway. That's when humour's really helpful.
Yes, you said this is not the greatest style of humor, but it tends to be, from my own perspective,
no, let
a
me
very
interrupt.
great way.
I think the other sense of humour is when you laugh at someone else. That's not the greatest level of humour. For me, it's when you laugh at yourself. and you can,
Yes.
that's amazing when you can laugh at yourself, because you can actually go, I can look at myself from a different angle. I'm not so in myself. I can actually put myself outside myself and laugh at myself and go, my God, I do this. This is stupid. Instead of like staying in yourself and then laughing at someone else who may look different to you. That's humour, but it's still quite funny.
Yes,
Like,
it is a very great exercise to be able to laugh at oneself, because this gives you the opportunity to be able to experience yourself outside of yourself, but also to have the empathy, as you have expressed, with all other entities.
when something really horrible happens, like a catastrophe, we tend to use humour as a way of looking at it, because if we look at it without humour, it's too scary. But if we can joke about it, then we can actually observe it. But there is a line, Treb, where you don't cross it, meaning that you don't laugh at it too much, and you'd have to wait a certain amount of time before you can make a joke about it. Because, say, for instance, there was something like an earthquake and a lot of people died. Yeah, I don't know. You could make a joke later on, but not the day after. That's not right. That's not right at all. What else? And the idea of humour. Say, for instance, someone falls over. You will laugh at them when they fall over. You will automatically laugh, and then you'll think, oh my God, I better help them up. But you'll still laugh as well. There was a thing a while ago, Treb. This fella, his wife cut off his penis and put it in a food blender and pressed the button and then, blended his penis. And everyone made jokes about it. But if it would have happened to a woman, no one would have made jokes about it. It would have just been called mutilation. But because it's a man, well, we're quite easier to laugh at jokes when bad things happen to men. It's like, men are, let's laugh. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does not register in a way that personally is understandable or resonates, but the idea of this and expressing this gives me a much greater perspective to be able to experience this in the next time.
Well, I think because men have been the dominant gender on this planet, we need to laugh at them a bit now to balance it. But I just hope one day we've balanced it enough where we don't laugh at men. Like, cause I say, men can like hurt themselves and we will laugh, but if a woman, like, we won't. We'll be very more sensitive. But if a man does it, we will make jokes, because I think we're trying to balance it, because we were the kings and we dominated the other gender over the years. This is just a balancing act at the moment. But yeah, men are starting to get a lot of things shouted at them, because we were the shouters. Now we're becoming the thing. And there's not much sensitivity for males at the moment. So what's your thing like with gender in your place?
The gender is truly not a separation of sexual identity, as there is no physical organs. There is a slight difference in appearance and also a slight difference in the energetic pattern. But between the male and the female, it is slightly different in the way that in the third density warrior class that we used to have, females were the dominant warriors. They were the ones who would fight most viciously.
Oh, no, they weren't. What?
Yes!
Come on, friend. And we're in the same bloody galaxy. That can't be the case. What, women are the war people? Yeah. What?
Yes! They are very easily angered in the third density. And very capable of physically fighting off other entities, as they are very protective of the young children.
Oh, okay, yeah. Now I'm thinking, yeah, we have animals like that, like some female spiders are the biggest than the male spider. Yeah, I can see that. I'm not going to your planet, Treb. What the hell? That sounded horrible.
It is quite different at this time,
yeah.
as the female entities have calmed down quite a great amount.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yes!
Excellent. Well, I say, Treb, we're all learning. So, next session, when we do another one, let's reverse it, and you ask me questions about this planet, and because then I can learn about it as I speak it, and then you can get some fun out of it as well. Because it's nice when you ask me a question from an outsider viewpoint, because I can go, oh yeah, let me have a think about that. Why do we do that? Or, and things like that. So I think we'll finish now then, and I'll see you again soon.
Yes, this will be very exciting as well, to be able to speak to you in a questionnaire form, as I have not done this for a very long time. And thank you for this opportunity. And I will experience you very soon as I leave you this evening in love and in light.
All right, have a nice day, whatever you're doing, and I love you as well. And thanks again, Treb. You've brought lots of ideas to my mind, and I can go and meditate on them and develop nicely. Have a nice night, Treb. I love you.
Have a nice night as well, and I love you too. Good night.
Bye now.